500 million in revolving grants to women-owned businesses. Beyond this, we are working to ensure that our women and girls can access credit at affordable rates by linking them directly with financial houses and microfinance institutions. We all heard what Access Bank and Bank of Industry say they have to offer now, and we're looking forward to that. No girl should be denied her dreams because she lacks capital. Now, opportunity, the third one. Access to finance must translate into access to markets and jobs. This is why, through the Ajoshe Foundation, which is a foundation that I chair, we run financial literacy clinics with banks such as FCMB. They had a program called the She Ventures, and we have partnered with EcoBank to scale platforms like Ajire Market Week, giving hundreds of women and artisans direct access to customers and export markets. Finally, empowerment cannot exist without health. In collaboration with the United Nations, governments, private organizations, and philanthropists, we have been delivering maternal health programs, including bringing doctors from all over the world to communities to provide specialized care and life-saving surgeries. Healthy women means stronger families and stronger economies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I particularly love the fact that you identified 4 pillars through which your office is working: education, finance, and opportunity, and then health. And that brings me to Her Excellency, the First Lady of Imo State. Could you quickly run us through some of the works you're leading in supporting women and vulnerable groups in your state? I know you're doing so much, and I know people will want to hear from you what you're doing.
Thank you, Omomi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the transformative work that I'm leading in Imo State to support women, girl child, youth, and vulnerable populations. The work I lead in Imo State is driven through my non-profit organization, the Good Hope Women Flourish Initiative, and is a vision-driven platform which was established to champion practical community-based interventions that directly address the real-life challenges faced by women, youths, vulnerable and underdeserved groups across our state. Our approach is holistic, inclusive, and people-centered. It is anchored on the belief that every woman and every vulnerable person deserves the opportunity to live with dignity, health, and purpose. So some of the key areas that, some of our key impact areas include health, education, economic empowerment, mentorship. So in health and wellness, we've reached over 4,000 women and girls and community members through sensitization on menstrual hygiene, reproductive health, mental health, and cancer prevention. We've provided medical support for women, children, and even men affected by cancer. We've actively partnered in statewide immunization campaigns, including the HPV vaccine and measles vaccination rollouts. Last year, we had a HPV testing program, and also to sensitize our women and our girls on the importance of the HPV vaccine. And early this year, we had this vaccine, and in Nigeria, we were given 1 shot. I have gotten the HPV vaccine. I got 3 shots, and we gave out, here in Nigeria, we got the vaccine that is just a shot. So we shared that out, and gave some girls in the state, some girls and some women in the states. And also, during the flag off, I had to tell them the importance of having the HPV vaccination. The states generally does this medical outreach where we have doctors from America flying, doctors from Imo State who live abroad flying to, for free medical outreaches, surgeries, and all that. We also have the education and girl child empowerment. Our off-street outreach program has helped enroll over 5,000 out-of-school children, restoring their right to learn. Through school-based advocacy, we have distributed dignity kits and menstrual hygiene education to more than 1,200 adolescent girls. And on economic empowerment, over 2,500 women and youth have received vocational starter packs, micro grants, and ongoing entrepreneurship supports to build sustainable livelihood. In our agricultural programs, we call it our Flourish Agricultural Scheme. We've empowered over 2,000 rural women farmers with the vitamin A seedlings like cassava, maize, and even sweet potatoes, and the training in sustainable practices. And early this year, I started a mentorship and a leadership program where we've mentored over 500 girls and women. We bring women all across in various careers who are from Imo State, even young women, to come in and speak to young girls, students, even mothers, to speak to them. And while we do that, I always say that, tell them that choose whoever you want to mentor you here and go to her, ask questions. And from that program, we've had some of the mentees who have written books. I had to attend, one of them wrote a book, and I went for the book launch. And during our Children's Day program this year, I had to bring her in because she's a girl to speak to the children, and now she's gotten a job in the University of Agriculture, Umago, to lecture there. And this is from mentorship, from coming for this mentorship program, and I was able to speak to her and look at where she's gotten to now. Also, we have other focus area that the Nigerian Governor Spouses Forum have touched: gender-based violence. We did a state of emergency in 2020 on gender-based violence, and by this I can tell you that almost all the states in Nigeria have passed the VAPP law, and we have SAC centers, all thanks to Ford Foundation. Ford Foundation gave us some grants, and with that, we are able to set up some SAC centers, Sexual Assault Referral Center. So in various states in the country, we set up the Sexual Assault Referral Center. In Imo State, we call ours the Deborah House. My name is Deborah, where we have women and girls come to the SAC centers when they are being molested or they have some abuse, when they've been abused or molested and have any issue pertaining on gender-based violence. And also, we've been promoting the child protection. In Imo State, the child protection bill has been passed. And recently, the governor passed the disability inclusion bill. So all this is a part of our broad and inclusive strategy to make sure that no woman, no child, and no vulnerable person is left behind. Through the Good Hope Women Flourish initiative, we are not just meeting needs, we are shaping the future of inclusive development in Imo State. Our vision is to build a society where every woman and every young person can thrive, they can rise, and they can lead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I, in particular, love the approach, which is inclusive and people-centered. And I love the mentorship program you have as well, because we need more mentors for our women, for our girls. They need to see who they want to be like or who they want to model like. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And I'll quickly move over to Her Excellency, the First Lady of Akwa Ibom. Your Excellency, looking at the great foundation laid by your mom of blessed memory that you're expanding on, if you were to paint a picture of your ideal future state, where women and girls have full and equal access to opportunities, what would it look like? And what shifts in the norms or practices would you prioritize to get there?
Thank you so much, Amomi, and thank you everyone for being here. I like that you mentioned I'm carrying on the legacy of my mom. So it's important to note that I am not the First Lady of Akwa Ibom State, but I'm the First Lady designate. So I am the coordinator of the Office of the First Lady. So my mandate is the same as every other First Lady in Nigeria. So to your question, what's the future that I see for women and girls? I think it's important that we're having this conversation because our role as First Ladies, we act as catalysts, right, for moving from policy to practice, which is what we're discussing here today. When we talk about policy, we're talking about frameworks, we're talking about intentions. And when we talk about practice, we're now talking about lives, the lives of the women and the children who have our ear as people that are in touch with the grassroots. As First Ladies, we're in a position where we understand the pain points of these women, and so it's important for us to have a seat in the room to be able to talk about how do these policies affect women and children in their daily lives. And so a future that I envisage for Akwa Ibom State is a future that is woven with the threads of economic independence, academic excellence, and an unwavering confidence in the girl child. This doesn't only start when we are running for office or as stakeholders in the state, but I think it starts from the inception, it starts from the cradle. How are we grooming our girl child or our girl children to know that there's no difference between the opportunities that are available to them as opposed to the male children? And I think that starts from homes, which is why it's important that we as First Ladies are able to sensitize and help women in our local communities to understand that these practices are developed in the home before they even go out to schools or are in the workspace or in the space of politics. And so for Akwa Ibom, I envisage a future where our daughters are not just in school, like I said, but they are completing their education and they're not burdened by things like period poverty. And I'd like to, at this point, thank Her Excellency, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, because she has consistently reached out to all of the states in Nigeria. Right now, we're getting sanitary pads for girls in our states just to ensure that they are not skipping school for those days where they're on their periods, which end up being cumulative, and they are at a disadvantage because they miss schoolwork, because they're on their periods. Gone are the days where they need to run away or hide away from people just for the period of their menstrual cycle. And so I really want to thank her for that. And for Akwa Ibom State, all of the initiatives that we're intentional about for the girl child and for women are things that we're already doing intentionally. So there are a few things I'll talk about here, but I just want to mention that the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Omoeno, has his blueprint, which is the ARISE, and I have a pin, we always wear it. What does ARISE stand for? Agricultural Revolution, the A. R is for rural development, I is for infrastructure, S is for security, and E is for the economy and education. And so these thematic areas are inclusive of all of the things that we do. And he's a he for she champion indeed, because he always supports and creates an enabled environment for women. I mean, look where I am today. Yes, my mom passed. It could have been anyone, but he chose me. I'm not just because I'm his daughter, but I think it's also because working very closely with my mother, he knew that I would be able to continue in that legacy, continue in that office, and thrive to continue to promote the mandate that we have to include women and children in everything that we do. So I will talk about three norms and practices that I believe that to move this vision into a reality, we really need to address. One of them is a shift from charity to sustainable empowerment. Yes, we appreciate the relief, the immediate relief that some of these empowerments give, but we need to go beyond that to now start talking about what is sustainable. How are we supporting and empowering our women to be able to move from just handouts to hand-ups? So we're talking about how are they able to not only eat fish, we don't want to just give them fish, but we also want to teach them how to fish, because we believe that that's more sustainable in the long term. And shifting from just I guess daily programs or incentives to more long-term comprehensive business training, grants, and monitoring. And we do that in Accra Ibom, like I said, just to make sure that all of the initiatives that we're bringing out are actually sustainable. So we have monitoring teams that go around when we provide grants to small, medium enterprises. We need to make sure that this money is going towards what we intend for it to go to, and their businesses are sustainable in the long run. The second one is moving from social exclusion to digital and financial inclusion. We all know that the future is digital. We know it, we say it, we live it. What are we doing to ensure that the women and girls are a part of this field? Coming up, again, I run my Mom's Pet Project, which is the Golden Initiative for All, and some of the thematic areas also complement the work of the governor as it should. And so we have a women training coming up where we're partnering with AfriLabs to train about 1,000 young girls with digital skills. So these are some of the things that we do intentionally to make sure that we're raising girls and young women who have a platform in the digital space. The third one is a shift from passive acceptance to active advocacy and justice. So we know that true equality cannot exist in the absence of justice. And so our priority is just to create a society, and we work with a lot of NGOs and a lot of non-profits to ensure that we are able to champion the cause of justice for girls and our young women. So I think a couple months ago, the Female Lawyers FIDA came to meet with me, and what were they talking about? Just being able to ensure that their voice is heard and that all of the work that they're doing is acknowledged and supported by the Office of the First Lady. And so we try to make sure that our young girls understand that we're there for them, and there are laws that, you know, we support and we advocate for to make sure that, like the First Lady of Imo State said, whenever there's abuse or the girl children are violated in any way, we support them, we stand with them, we speak for them. And if it means, you know, someone getting jailed over a crime, then we make sure that we get the full force of the law behind that. So these are some of the norms that need to shift to ensure that the future we envisage, where every girl child is supported and groomed to realize that their voices are heard and there are no glass ceilings that they cannot break, and that just to be sure, just to make sure that, to reiterate what everyone else has said, that the girl child is powerful. And what we've been talking about in the last few days, well, in a few months, but more intentionally in the last couple of days we've been here, is the special seats reserved for women in Parliament. And so we're pushing and advocating for that, not only as First Ladies, and for me as a young woman, it's important to know that. And I heard yesterday in the dinner we had with the British High Commission that this reserved seats for women is not just about a favor. We're not asking for a favor, because with the percentage being so low, we women representation, 5%, what we're asking for pushes up to about 20%, which is still a very low number when you think about it. And so I'm a big advocate for it as a young woman, because it provides hope. It provides hope for the girl children that we're raising to know that people are fighting for this. We see you, we hear you, and you have a platform to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. I particularly find it very interesting and practical that you've already identified the norms that must shift, because that means you went back to the drawing board to take out the impediment so you can move forward. Thank you so much for that. And that takes me to the representative of Her Excellency, the First Lady of Cross River State. Your Excellency, with the important work that Her Excellency is doing in Cross River State, leading in education, healthcare, and women's empowerment, how would you describe a high-performing state? And how do you see your state measuring progress towards that goal?
Hello. Thank you, Maumi. Welcome everybody to the room. Standing on the already established protocol. In Cross River State, I'm the wife of Governor, Her Excellency Bishop Mrs. Ayowan Pastor 2 is our humanity champion. She works through her NGO, the Humanity Without Borders Empowerment Initiative. And in that NGO, we have 5 intervention areas: health, education, agriculture, social welfare, and social justice, and environmental sustainability. And also we have 5 target population: the women, the children, the elderly, the people with disabilities, and the young people. So in everything we do, these are common. Basically in health, we have 3 ways we intervene. The first is through free medical outreaches. We've touched at least 30,000 lives in the past 2 years through free medical outreaches. We carried out every quarter in the 3 senatorial districts of Cross River State. We also have a team of doctors that come in, different teams from outside the country, who work with our own doctors in Cross River State to get this done. We're able to carry out at least 1,500 surgeries since we started, and other interventions. Apart from this, we also have one-on-one interventions as the need arises. For example, people with cancer, we support cancer treatment. We support one-on-one surgeries when we are not having the free medical outreaches. And then people that also cannot pay their medical bills, we also handle that. And then the third way is actually through health insurance scheme. We are working with the state government to achieve universal health coverage. And the health insurance scheme we, as Humanity Without Borders, carry out is for the elderly, particularly people above 60 years. So as long as you are above 60 years in Cross River State, working with Humanity Without Borders, we have a card. You just register with the health insurance agency. We have a card we give you, and you can access health care for free. For education, we are intentional about making sure that every girl child is educated. No child is out of school. So we focus on school enrollments, retention in school, and even the pass rates in the schools. And we have what we call the back to school projects. Because some of these children go to school with no shoes, with no school bags, with no books. So these back to school projects, at every September, at the beginning of the school year, we go to public secondary schools and primary schools, and we give them what we call the back to school packs. These packs, everything is in the school bag. So we have the school sandals, we have the school uniforms. We sew school uniforms for them. We have the books that they need for the school. We have writing material. So everything is included in this bag. And per session, we have 5,000 of this. Every September, we roll out 5,000. We intend to scale up. Apart from the back to school, we have the STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. We started with STEM, but we realized that we were leaving out the girl child who was studying arts. And that's why we added arts. We work with girls in secondary schools. And very recently, we've scaled up to add the boys, because we are also about gender, not only girls, but girls and boys. So we have this intervention in secondary schools where we teach them digital skills and science, technology, and engineering. And apart from that, we also have scholarships. We also have scholarships. We have scholarships for secondary school children. And what we do, we're about humanity. So we carry out these interventions on a need basis. Just last month or 2 months ago, we had medical students, 30 of them, who couldn't pay their school fees and were not allowed to write their final exams. And Her Excellency took that up and cleared the school fees for those medical students. So yes, so that's what she does. For children that need to go to law school and do not have the money, she can have that one-on-one and carry out that for education. And then scholarships also for children that don't have. We are working with Federal Government Girls College Calabar and some public secondary schools where we have children from villages come to boarding schools, because we find out that maybe these children in villages may not even have access to quality education. So we get them to come to these secondary schools and board. We have at least 100 of them going into this September. That's for education. For agriculture, we work with women in agriculture where we carry out cluster farming. We were able to get at least 20 hectares of farmland, a local government area, where we get these women to farm in clusters. And in each of those 20 hectares, we have 1 tractor for these women. And we have realized that this community farming practice is better. We can actually assess and evaluate what we are doing for these women through this community farming practice than just giving them and telling them to go to their farms. We provide farm inputs like fertilizer, seedlings, fish fingers and all that. So we also provide those farm inputs. We provide farm implements for these women, and also we even provide farm infrastructure where there's a need. We try to collaborate and work with MDAs to give them access to their farm and from farm to markets. So we may not tar the roads, but we may be able to get those roads graded so that they can bring out their produce from these farms and get them to the market where it's needed. Even at the level of the market, that's where we go to environmental sustainability. At the level of the market, we try to innovate the wet markets for this and provide water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities, particularly toilets and boreholes in these wet markets. And that's what we do for health, for education, for agriculture, social welfare, and social inclusion. We do a lot for the women. In fact, today, why Her Excellency couldn't make it here, with the support of Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, she's empowering 500 market women today. It's ongoing in Cross River State, where we get women to just empower them, MSMEs, their micro, small businesses. And it's been a continuous process. It's not one-off. So we have a database of at least 30,000 market women. So whatever we need to do for market women, we just go to that database. We have someone that coordinates these market women. We go to that database and we make sure that we get this done. For today, she's giving 100,000 naira each to these women to help them improve on whatever they are doing. So I think that's basically what we're doing. And many more.
Yes,
we're just struggling to, aiming to achieve sustainable development goals.
Thank you so much. With what, a round of applause, please. With what you've run us through, you've succinctly shown to us what a performing state, a performing First Lady, what it should look like, what the model should be like. And we hear and we see what's going on in the kind and amount of work Her Excellency is committing herself to. So we celebrate her. Thank you one more time. I have been given 5 minutes, however, by the directive of my chairperson, I would give the microphone to Her Excellency, the coordinator of the Office of the First Lady, Benue State, likewise for Edo. I'm very sure you want to share briefly what's happening in your state, and we take it from there. I'll quickly bring the microphone. Okay, there's a microphone. Could you please? Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, the press. Good afternoon, sorry. It's cold in here, so it feels like morning. So talking about what we are doing in our offices, if I say that I will go into the details, it will be the same, like replicating what they just said. But most importantly, I want to highlight the man that has made our job easy, my job easy in Benue State. That is the Reverend Gentleman, who is the governor of Benue State, Very Reverend Father Hyacinth Umem Alia. This man is a man that is quite a very gender-sensitive person. And he came on board and gave so many appointments to women. We have about 44 female appointees in Benue State. He gave us the first female SSG in Benue State. He gave us the Accountant General. It's a woman. There are many MBAs that are being headed by women. And in his administration, we have registered the highest level of female education in Benue State. When you enter into a classroom, you see that most of the people you see there are women. He has given scholarships, and this is a man that is quite restless about the cause of the girl child. And recently he has included the boy child, because we all know that even them are experiencing abuse and they need protection. This has really made my job easy. Instead of me even looking for him for us to share ideas together, he is the one looking for me and pressing to make sure that the women and girl child and boy child now are protected and are doing well. If we go to the side of economic empowerment, we are doing so well. In the side of ICT, we have empowered more than 10,000 youth. And also women empowerment, we have done more than 5,000. And recently, we also graduated women that are well taught in skill acquisitions like tailoring, makeup, nails, because women have their passions, and he has continued to do that in that aspect. Sponsorship in terms of business startups is something that we are also doing. And making sure that the gender desk has been properly set up and equipped to give us justice is what we are also doing in Benue State. I can go on and on, so I will stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. Thank you for this opportunity. I didn't know I was going to speak, so sticking about. Thank you for having me here. I'm sure we all do almost the same thing, so I just want to emphasize on something that the Office of the First Lady is really doing, is on GBV, our applause. We're really taking it seriously, because we've noticed that a lot of our young girls have been abused. I say to them, is it better now than it was before? It's two sides of the coin. We have given girls the opportunity to speak out. Because girls prior to now have been abused but have not been able to speak. Now we say to them, we are with you. We stand with you. Speak out and leave the rest for the office to handle. Today, just before I came here, I was on a case of a 17-year-old girl that was raped by a pastor, got pregnant, aborted. Okay, sorry, it was yesterday. And this morning, I sent my team to the house of the girl and realized that her grandmother has been using her for business. So she gets pregnant, they blackmail you, they take money from you, and they abort the pregnancy. And it started when she was 14 years old. So in Edo State, and as the chairman for the GBV committee, I am enforcing the law. And in the last meeting we had, I said to them, it's time to name and shame. Once you commit the crime, and it's always an alleged crime, until you're proven guilty, we will print your name on dailies. We will put your name on papers. We will put your pictures, and people will see and know that you're a criminal. I'm here, I stand for the girl child. I'm here to support the girl child, and I stand a voice. I am a voice for the girl child. I have strong daughters. I always imagine, if it was my daughter, what would I do? Thank you, all the First Ladies. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And what you have witnessed here is a testament of the amount of work, the amount of reach, the amount of impact you get when women come together to form coalition and push for the cause of women in Nigeria. We make almost half of the population, and we must come together and stop working in silence to keep pushing for the cause of women in Nigeria. On behalf of the Nigeria Governor Spouses Forum and the PIC, I say a big thank you to Your Excellency for gracing the podium. And quickly, please take a moment to provide your feedback on this session using any of the following options. 1, you scan the QR code given to you by the research assistants. 2, you use the digital screen in the foyer. And the last one, you use the research assistant's tablet that we provided to you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Are we good?